Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webcast. Do you 321 or is hope your current backup strategy? Sponsored by TBConsulting. I'm Tracy Cook with Virtualization and Cloud Review, and I'd like to thank you all for joining us. Before we begin, I'd like to take care of a few housekeeping details. Please feel free to type your questions into the Ask a Question box on the console at any time during the presentation. We'll address as many of your questions as we can during the live event. And finally, this webcast is being recorded and will be archived for future viewing. And to access the replay, you can use the same link you used today. And now on to the webcast. I'd like to introduce our featured speaker, Rob Alvarado, Solutions Engineer from TBConsulting. Rob has over 20 years of management and technical experience. His career highlights include Solutions Architect, Manager of IT, and Director of Infrastructure for multiple verticals, including cellular, retail, financial, education, construction, and healthcare. So we're in great shape today. And, I do want to note one other thing. Rob is a reformed head in the sand IT director. So I thought that was funny. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Rob. Rob, please take it away.
Thank you, Tracy. Much appreciated. Hello, and welcome to today's webinar presentation. Yes, do you 321 or is hope your strategy? Presented by TBConsulting. Our mission is to empower our clients to transform and grow. We do this by supporting transformation of their IT capabilities to support and drive growth in their company. Our clients' business, IT department, ecosystem, and goals are distinct, and that is how we approach everything we do. By working with our clients as partners, your goals become our goals, and your pain points are our challenges to solve. Tracy, thanks again for the introduction. Yes, 20 years in the technology area based here in Phoenix, Arizona. Many different verticals I've worked in. And yes, I am a reformed IT director. I don't know if this is one of those talk shows during the day, but I can definitely say I am reformed from and stopped being the head in the sand IT director, recognizing that there are all kinds of challenges that we face on a daily basis. Sometimes you have to prioritize, and sometimes you're just put in those spots where you just have to put those backup and disaster recovery and documentation at the very bottom because you're too busy fighting those daily fires. So I am definitely a reformed IT director. So to get this kind of kicked off, what I'd like to do is let's take a poll and kind of put it out there. And names, of course, are not being kept. We'll change the names to protect the innocent here, and no public shaming. But let's, I'd like to get a little flavor of how often everybody checks their backups. I see we've got some interesting choices here. I feel like if I had taken this question a few years back, my answer probably would have been a combo of C and D. But I'd like to give everybody a chance to a few minutes here to select their choice. And we can definitely take a look at those poll results later in the presentation. Again, it's not a test. Again, no public shaming. We all had different levels of backup engagements in our past lives. So from that standpoint, just want to get a little bit of a feel for where some of the folks joining the webinar today are at in their evolvement of backup strategy. Just give everybody just a couple more minutes, maybe a minute or two here, just for everybody to vote. And then we'll move on. Okay, ready to move on. So we now live in a world where we are heavily reliant on data. Imagine what would happen if your network went down for days or weeks and you couldn't access your client database, financial records, or any file the company has ever compiled or produced. Could the business still function? How quickly could you recover, if at all? Data loss is a frightening proposition. Year after year, the numbers of data loss due to malware, ransomware, and natural or negligent disaster pour in, and it's almost never good news. Article upon article highlighting data loss within enterprise organizations and the impacts of that loss. Nothing compares with the sinking feeling you experience when you need to restore data from a backup, but you can't for some reason. I think we've all probably had a little bit of that challenge in our history, in our careers. Most computer users have this experience eventually. The pain is even more acute and frequent for administrators who are responsible for large amounts of important business data. Although backup and restore technologies have advanced in the past few years, you probably still use them only as a last-ditch safety mechanism. When all else fails, you try to restore from backup. For this alternative to be viable, you must have a degree of confidence that your data will be available and readable when you need it. Every business wants to reduce its costs, but if avoiding technology upgrades to reduce expenditures was actually increasing them. According to Gartner, the average cost of network downtime is around $5,600 per minute. This is around $300,000 per hour. For any business, $300,000 an hour is a lot on the line. Beyond the monetary costs, IT downtime can wear on your business's productivity levels. Every time you get interrupted, it takes on average 23 minutes to get refocused on your prior task. So over on the screen there, you see a little algebra problem. Let's talk about this little algebra problem that we have out there. This is the formula that really should grab the attention of your CIO, your CFO, or your CEO. The cost of downtime per hour is equal to lost revenue plus lost productivity plus recovery costs plus intangible costs. So let's talk a little bit about lost revenue. You need to calculate the amount of revenue generated per hour by your business. This would be the revenue per week per 40 hours. An important component to figure out your lost revenue is your business's revenue dependence upon uptime. Lost productivity. Due to down servers, employees are unable to perform their jobs, but their salaries are a fixed cost and do not change even during the downtime. To calculate the productivity lost, you must first calculate each employee's salary per hour, then estimate the percentage of productivity that is dependent on uptime, and this could be different across employees. Recovery costs. These are the costs accrued while fixing the issue. They can include, but are not limited to, repair services, replacement parts, lost data recovery, other costs due to loss of data. These may not be as tangible at revenue and productivity costs, but they are equally as important when calculating your real downtime costs. The intangible costs. These are the costs that can sting the most for the long term. These occur when downtime damages your reputation or your brand. You know, looking at the, nobody ever said I had to do math and IT, but the fact is sometimes we actually need to do that in order to justify leveraging technologies to help stabilize or improve business operations. But remember, going through an exercise such as this can provide meaningful data back to decision makers and stakeholders to help drive business decisions. Think about how excited your CFO might get if you work with them on this calculation. So as myself, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call, we always turn to our most favorite search engine, Google, to help solve our problems. But can Google really help solve my problem? Let's be honest. I mean, how many times have we done this in our career? Your head can really spin after seeing all these returns. Best practice articles as far as you can see. And what's interesting on just this simple search, you find articles on the first page dated back to 2015. I assume we've kind of made a little bit of technology strides in the last few years. But is there really a quick fix? Maybe. But let's face it, if you go past page 1 on Google, you know you are in no man's land. So let's take a look at the polling results, and do we have some honest answers here? And I like the fact that we don't have anybody that what is a backup, because if we had some of those answers, I'd feel really bad. I'd feel really horrible. But it's good to see. The fact is, we've got some folks that are very confident, and they feel very confident, but they have the excuse built in. And I honestly, from my perspective, and again, being a reformed IT director, I was always an option C. We always had a backup in place, but it was never looked at as something that needed to be managed on a daily basis. I kind of always had the excuses built in that if data did disappear, and it really just kind of depended on the type of data. If somebody lost their pictures of their cat, I'm probably not going to waste my time digging through the backups to look to see if I could restore that. However, when the CFO loses that spreadsheet, you're probably going to dig for a little while and dig for hour after hour after hour looking to see if you can restore that. And hopefully you have some backups in order to do the restore. So very interesting. I'm happy to see that we do have some folks that are very confident on the call as well. So working with our customers, TBC has typically seen these same 5 mistakes when customers attempt the do-it-yourself model. And I can honestly say I've made some of these individually and made them all at the same time. Mistake number 1, not understanding the business objectives. And how is it the CFO's 2009 3-week Italian vacation pictures are at the top of the priority backup schedule? Think about how different your backup strategy could be if information could be gathered and prioritized for business operations. Interviewing of the key stakeholders to really determine what data or applications are key for the business operations. Mistake number 2, focusing on the backup and not the recovery. And I think that's pretty rampant. As technologists, we always talk about backup, and but the fact is anybody can do the backup, but the goal is the recovery. And so what if we changed from using the term backup and replaced it with the actual word recovery? We always felt, my past career, we always felt comfortable that we were backing up the data, but at a critical time, we were unable to restore due to corrupted data. Testing of that backup would have proved that out probably around 6 to 8 months prior to me trying to restore data. Mistake number 3, not protecting data off-site. I remember the days of taking external hard drives or tapes to my house for safekeeping. And I guess I can kind of say that I was an early off-site cloud adopter, although I'm not sure putting tapes and hard drives in your car and traveling to your house and keeping them, at your house is, typically the way that things really should be done these days. Mistake number 4, not actively managing your backup. I think this is pretty typical. We sometimes think that the backup is a set it and forget it, and daily care and feeding of the backup environment should provide increased confidence in the restore process. And mistake number 5, not testing the restores, pretty much hand in hand with the mistake number 2. We continue to focus on the backup and not what is important, and that is the recovery. But bottom line, the demands of the business are requiring you to prioritize to keep the lights on daily operations. Backup is not the most glamorous of the IT functions. Nobody sees data and applications being backed up. It doesn't impress your customers or your employees for that matter. But it becomes the most important when business operations is at risk for data loss. So this is why I've come to TBC, to help develop a managed data backup program with our delivery and operations teams. Our business development team has also established a strong partnership with Veeam. In fact, TBC provides hosted private cloud resources to Veeam for development and testing environments. And I'm sure we can all read the big words on the screen here, but my perspective here is that it's just the fancy way of saying TBC keeps things simple. Managed backup using 3 copies of your data, 1 primary copy local and 2 backup, 2 types of media, and 1 of the media is offsite, the traditional 3-2-1. Sometimes it's not necessary to overcomplicate to ensure a solid backup strategy. TBC Veeam certified engineers are well versed with the Veeam availability platform. We leverage the full suite of Veeam products to create, monitor, manage, and recover data for your team. We start with the core, the Veeam availability suite, delivering availability for all workloads, virtual, physical, and cloud, that is overseen by our Phoenix-based 24/7, 365 IT Operations Center. Through this service, our engineers assist in helping IT teams meet today's service level and data center availability objectives. Our team uses backup and replication, the engine that drives the Veeam availability platform. Veeam Backup and Replication provides fast and reliable backup for all workloads, giving you the ability to achieve shorter backup windows and reduce backup and storage costs. We create application-consistent, image-level VM backups with advanced application-aware processing, lower RPOs, and generate ultra-fast backups from storage snapshots. For recovery, we restore entire VMs, individual files, and everything in between. Recovery delivers lightning-fast and reliable restores for individual files, entire VMs, and application items, ensuring that you have confidence in virtually every recovery scenario to give you the ability to attain low recovery time objectives. Orchestration for both data availability and agility. Monitoring and analytics with Veeam One. TBC leverages this powerful monitoring tool for reporting and capacity planning that provides visibility into the workloads that it monitors. Data labs provide sure backup and sure replica that go beyond typical backup and recovery scenarios. With sure backup, you can improve backup-related operational efficiencies by automatically verifying the recoverability of every backup, every VM, every time. Sure Backup automatically starts VMs in an isolated environment, performs a set of tests, and sends you as a status report to your mailbox so you know if your VMs are recoverable at any time. Sure Replica can also automatically test every restore point in every VM replica for recoverability. Sure Replica helps improve operational efficiencies by validating data for consistency, checking replica configuration accuracy, and testing it for complete reliability by running it to the required restore point in an isolated lab. TBC provides customers access to spin up these isolated copies of their production environment. It enables recovery verification, testing of upgrades and patches prior to production deployment, security testing and compliance enforcement, and the ability to provide more easily engage in DevOps and dev test and more. So there you have it, TBC Managed Backup, our 3-2-1, how we eliminate the top 5 mistakes through the primary copy and 2 backup, local storage installed in your data center, offsite copy securely sent to the TBC hosted private cloud. And some quick highlights of this service. No storage limits. Solution is built to scale with you, and we have built the platform to have unlimited capacity. End-to-end security by encrypting all data at source before it leaves your network perimeter, in flight and at rest. Visibility with monthly and quarterly performance feedback and consumption planning. Tapes be no more. Offsite cloud backup is supported with built-in WAN acceleration. At TBC, we bring the tech, the people, and the process together to deliver a managed backup outcome. ITIL methodology to ensure successful audit reviews for you. TBC invests in the subject matter experts so that you can consume this outcome in an OpEx engagement. We follow the 5D methodology and a project manager will be assigned to the implementation to ensure success. And as we all know on this call, IT folks, well, we really don't do very well as project managers. But on average, our customers fall into our standard 30, 60, 90 implementation. By the end of the first 30, we should be completing the defining of the availability strategy and the sizing of the environment. At the end of the second 30 days, hardware should be installed and configuration should be finalized, and at the end of the 90 days, final tuning and testing should be completed. So after 90 days, you should be off and running on a fully managed backup as a service implementation. Transitioning over to your operations phase and managing the service to your business needs and providing meaningful reports for your planning and road mapping. And with that, I would like to say thanks everybody for attending. And if you have interest, we'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to reach out through multi-access, whether it's through our website. Feel free to reach out to me on email or LinkedIn. And I think now we can kind of open it up for some Q&A. I have one of my subject matter experts with me on the call. His name is Yuri Davidoff, and Yuri is one of our long-standing senior engineers here at TBC, who is a Veeam certified and is core to the development and support of our managed backup practice. Tracy, let's take it away for some Q&A.
Great. Yeah, that would be wonderful. I encourage the audience to ask questions. We have time for multiple questions today. So to start us off, is my backup data secure in TBC Private Cloud?
So this is Yuri Davidoff. I'll answer that one. So Veeam delivers built-in end-to-end AES 256-bit encryption that gives you the ability to encrypt backup files and data at source during backup, in flight, and at rest.
Okay, thank you. And if the audience, if you want to put a question in the ask a question box, that would be great. And here's another question. Who supports on-premise backup physical server?
So TBC will provide full support for your on-prem Veeam server and will ensure the platform is optimized and working to ensure best possible Cloud Connect experience. So we will basically provide all of the back-end server and infrastructure for a backup solution and manage everything on the back end to make sure that your backups are successful. We manage everything on the back end for you.
All right. Thank you so much. It looks like we've answered all the questions in the queue. If you want to, if you have a quick one that you'd like to ask, please feel free to submit it. In the meantime, I just would like to ask Yuri and Rob if they have any closing thoughts before I shut it down.
Yeah, Tracy, it looks like we've got another question that came in.
We do. Okay, yeah, great. Do I, as a customer, have the ability to access backups and or perform a restore process?
Absolutely. So the way we have the portal built out is so that you have access to your backup. So if for whatever reason you do need to restore, you have that capability, as well as request our IT Operations Center to perform that backup and restore for you so that you can focus on your business growth and not worry about your backups and restores.
Okay, very good. I'll just wait a couple seconds to see if anything else comes in. And
very good. Okay. Yeah, and Yuri, just to talk maybe just a little bit more about that and share with TBC, we are also a ServiceNow partner. So a lot of the communication that we interface with our customers with is through a ServiceNow portal. We are, again, ITIL-driven organization leveraging ServiceNow as our IT service management platform. Our customers will communicate through the ServiceNow platform or phone calls, but the fact is we have a single source of record. And if you are a customer today who is leveraging ServiceNow, we can actually integrate the two ServiceNows to ensure that tickets are being properly handed off between those systems.
All right, that's great. I guess I would like to thank Yuri and Rob for for the excellent presentation, and Yuri for answering questions. We really appreciate both of you taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. And I'd also like to thank the audience for attending today's webcast, sponsored by TBConsulting and presented by Virtualization and Cloud Review. Thanks again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.